Hello, hope you guys are doing well. This video is going to cover the kind of setup and layout of your magazine cover page, and it's going to also give you a couple helpful tips for kind of getting things where they go realistically and making sure that the title looks similar to the reference images that you guys are using, as well as doing things like spacing and making sure that you leave enough room. So you'll see here that I started just by drawing a rectangle at the top of my paper, and I'm going to use that as my area where the title of my magazine will go. And then I just kind of eyeballed and split that rectangle into whatever number of letters your title would have. So I'm doing the Audubon Society. That means that I need 7 letters, so I spaced them out accordingly. I did make my first box slightly larger than the ones that come after it in order to make the capital letter have a little bit more room. And so once I get this set up, I am going to start with the first letter, the capital one. Sometimes you may have all of your letters be capitals, in which case you just will keep everything equal and get everything within that box. But these boxes are really helpful in that they are going to give you a starting point for all of your letters. It will keep everything on the same line so that you don't have your letters going up or down on a slant, as well as once you have your first letter down, you can use it as a kind of guideline for the rest of them. So for example, you'll see here that once I get the horizontal line of my A down, I'm going to use that line as a reference point for the rest of my letters. So the next letter that comes is a U, and I can use that to know that the U goes up slightly higher than that horizontal line, and that's going to make sure that all of my letters fit where they need to go, and in addition, just have them all match. Other things to think about as you're working on this title portion is to try to look at what makes the font that you're using unique. So in my case, I have a serif font, which means that it has those little extra dashes on the edges of the letters. If you're doing a sans serif font, then you can choose to ignore those. But everything that I do here, I am trying to use my letters and my other reference points to make sure that everything kind of lines up. So all vertical lines should match and all be parallel to each other. All of your curved lines should look kind of similar, as that is something that is very commonly found in typography. And in general, all the lowercase letters will more than likely meet at the same point. So you'll notice that the U and the curved part of the D and the B and the N all kind of fall on the same line, as well as the taller parts of the letters all match up with the top of the A. So everything will be kind of equal to each other, and you can use all of your letters previously to help you decide how you need to draw these. You'll also notice that I put a piece of paper under my hand as I was starting to smear that A as I worked on the rest of these letters. Once you have your title written out, you can just erase those extra lines. In general, try to keep a light touch with your pencil so that any extra guidelines that you're using can be easily erased. And then from here, you can start to move on to some of the other parts of your magazine that you're going to want to see. In my case, I decided to add the date next. You can choose to do something that's like a monthly magazine, you could do quarterly, and I just used my letters that you see there to try to make sure that I had this exactly in the middle. That's something that you can also accomplish with a ruler, but the benefit of having a odd lettered word is that you can just look at the middle 3 letters and try to base your type off of that. And you see that I even got it a little bit off, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it should be kind of similar to what sort of magazine you're using as a reference. This next part of the video is going to go pretty quickly through my drawing process of my large central image, which in my case is an osprey. I am working from the reference image that you see in the upper right hand corner here, and even comparing it to my sketch, which you can see on the left side of the screen, I refined a lot of my edges and made sure that I worked very closely to the reference to try to get it to look as close as possible to the picture that I have. This isn't something that you need to worry about too much, just try to have fun with it, but if you choose to do some sort of fashion magazine, feel free to use our face drawing tips and tricks to make it look really, really similar to whoever you're trying to draw. And now finally, the only other part of this video that I wanted to look at would be the barcode. Remember, with your subheadlines and stuff, you'll just fit those on the page where they make sense, and you can either make them up or just do something that you pull off of a reference image. You can just copy it. It's really up to you what you want to do with that. But we do want to look at the barcode real quick just to make sure that you are able to be successful with this and accomplish it easily. So I would start by drawing out a box, and then drawing out a box kind of within that. And then from there you can just draw lines of varying thicknesses across the entire thing. That'll replicate that barcode that we would expect to see on a magazine. And then right underneath you can just write some random numbers that would correspond to the numbering system that is used for buying and selling stuff. It's not going to be accurate, but it really doesn't need to be, so don't sweat it, just have fun with it, and it's going to make it look a little bit more realistic, which is what we're trying to go for.